Hey, 10th graders. This is Mr. Cawley, and
Mr. Belson here.
And Mrs. Boulanger.
we are going over um, text response theme, and we're going to be looking at an analysis of theme in the short story Helix that you read for class. And this will help you have a better understanding of the story and the literary device theme and how to use it in relation to the story. So we're first off going to go over an overview of the short story Helix. Mr. Belson, do you want to take this?
Yeah, of course. So in the story, we have two main characters, and they remain nameless. We're only going to refer to them as the boyfriend and the girlfriend. And while the story is short, we don't get a whole lot of description as to who they are. The boyfriend we know by profession is a writer. And through a quote that we're going to look at a little bit later, he likes things that are blurred. And what we kind of interpret that to mean is he likes when things run together. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. The girlfriend is described as simple, and the boyfriend uses that term almost as a term of endearment, something that he desires himself but isn't quite capable of achieving. He thinks about things in a more complex way and envies her simple view of life. She's also very patient and quite friendly and bubbly in personality. The setting is unnamed, but we know that this story comes from a Japanese author, and a lot of the clues that are given let us know that it's in a town, a large city, most likely Tokyo, but it's unnamed. So it's kind of this universal city landscape that we're entering. There's two main conflicts inside of this story. One is an internal conflict where the boyfriend realizes that he actually does love his girlfriend, and not just in a light way, but in a serious way. And in a profound moment, he feels that love for her. And then there's also an external conflict where the characters, the boyfriend and girlfriend, struggle with what to do with this memory seminar where the girlfriend wants to go with one of her friends to erase a lot of her memories. And the boyfriend is scared that she's going to forget him, that all of the memories that they made are going to be gone and she'll come back not knowing who he is and any of the history that they've shared. The plot is pretty simple as far as what actually happens in the story. The couple meet at a closed restaurant right after hours. The girlfriend has a key to let them in. They discuss this memory seminar where the girlfriend is going to potentially lose memories of her whole life. And then as they're walking in an empty street, they witness this explosion above them in a high kind of tower, a larger building. And the street that was once empty now becomes noisy and crowded with other people. And that's kind of where the story ends.
So one of the quotes from the story that we think finds its way throughout the narrative is that the boyfriend says, "I like places where one thing runs into another, blurring the boundaries." And we thought that this was appropriate because when we think about our memories are not exactly how the event happened. A lot of times, memories can change. They can blend together with other memories, and one person might remember something one way, whereas another person might remember something a completely different way. So this quote is something that complements the theme of memory in the story, and it's by the unnamed male narrator. So now we're going to talk about theme. And what is theme? It's a literary device. Theme is defined as a main idea or an underlying meaning of a literary work, which may be stated directly or indirectly. For instance, in Finding Nemo, this is a full-length motion picture, so we're going to have a lot more themes than we would in a short story, such as trust, family, perseverance, and independence. And because Helix is a short story, there will not be as many themes present. There might be only one or two. The direct theme being memory, and some indirect themes could be like blurriness or the complexity or
Love even.
love, depth. So but we're only going to be focusing on memory today because it is a short story. Ms. Boulanger, do you want to talk about the relationship between theme and the narrative?
Sure. When we're talking about theme, we just want to remember that it is the pivotal element in the story. It's not something that's a one and done. It's going to linger. You're going to keep hearing it over and over, even if it's not being said right there on the page, you're going to feel it. They're threads. If you think about threads that are woven through fabric, They need to be there, otherwise the clothing's going to fall apart. They're there from the beginning to the end. It's the message that the author's trying to tell. Sometimes you're going to have themes that are general, love, or courage, or something very general, and it can also be more than one. Even in a short story like Helix, Helix has many themes, or at least a few. We're focusing on memory, and if you think about it in this way, it's sort of a building block. So in Helix, there's a symbol of a key. The girl has a key to get into the cafe. That key would be the motif is going to be like awareness. She has this awareness or knowledge about memory, and that's going to tie right into the theme.
So when we're talking about the theme, let's discuss how the theme of memory applies to the story. So in your document, guys, we said, what is the author's larger message about theme, about memory? And your student response, this is where you would take a look at how you felt about the story and said, okay, how was memory portrayed in the story on the larger message? So one thing you might have written was, the two characters discuss how the complex and unknown nature of memory affects their love for each other. And that might have been something you wrote up here. But then what we wanted you to do was to come up with a theme, a label specific way memory is discussed. One could be the memory loss, positive memories, negative memories. The one we chose was depth of memory. And we're going to show you a quote from a story, and then we're going to answer the question, what does this moment from the text reveal about the author's view of memory? So let's take a look. Let's remind ourselves that our larger message is that the two characters discuss how the complex and unknown nature of memory affects their love for each other. And let's take a look at this quote. Mr. Belson, do you want to read this?
Absolutely. This comes from page 654, pretty late in the story. So the first person who's speaking is the girlfriend. I promise that I'll be able to recover all my memories of you, she said, all of a sudden as we were walking along, even if I forget them at first. Every single one. Of course, we've done so much together. Wherever I go and whatever I see, I think of you. Newborn babies, the pattern on the plate that you can see under a paper-thin slice of sashimi, fireworks in August, the moon hidden behind the clouds over the ocean at night, when I'm sitting down someplace, inadvertently step on someone's toes and have to apologize, and when someone picks up something I've dropped and I thank him, when I see an elderly man tottering along and wonder how much longer he has to live, dogs and cats speaking out from alleyways, a beautiful view from a tall building, the warm blast of air you feel when you go down into a subway station, the phone ringing in the middle of the night. Even when I have crushes on other men, I always see you in the curve of their eyebrows. So does that mean every single thing on earth reminds you of me? Once again, she closed her eyes and then opening them, looked directly at me, her eyes shining like glass. No, just everything in my heart. So when we think about this quote, it kind of gets down to where memory resides. Where does it really take shape? And it's something that even scientists aren't all that sure of. We know that there is space in our brain that's dedicated to memory, but we don't really know exactly how it works. And here we have a female character, the girlfriend, trying to discuss where she thinks those memories reside. And it's in items, it's in her heart, it's in a place, a setting, a person. It's not really just in her brain. And this kind of speaks to that depth of memory. Where does it actually reside? If you were to just go into the brain and turn something off or eliminate a part of it, does that mean the emotion is completely gone when you step back into a room where you shared a great memory with somebody or a great event with somebody? She's not that certain. She thinks she'll be able to recover all of those thoughts.
So what we would write in this, box over here, and just reflecting on the quote, the girlfriend explains that the memory erasing seminar will not be able to erase the love she has for her boyfriend. He is stitched into her soul and her heart. Therefore, erasing her memory will not erase him. But then, we're left with the question, why go through with the procedure at all? And this is the irony of the story. So that's an overview, guys, of how to tackle this theme annotation. And you would just do this 2 more times. We would do this 2 more times after this section right here. Mr. Belson or Mrs. Boulanger, do you guys have any closing remarks before we let these guys go?
I just think that if they are taking a moment to go back into their discussion post as well about this story and can look at it now with more understanding about what you've discussed, they may be able to add annotations to give a stronger argument for, the claim that they're making, to be able to give some evidence as to why memory is so important in the story.
Right. So our goal for you guys for this week, this coming week, which would be, May 3rd to May 9th, would be to take a look at the videos that we're giving you, because we're going to give one for the next short story as well, and ask yourself, did I complete the assignment like we wanted you to complete? And if you need to make revisions, we'd like you to. So that being said, we hope that you guys are continuing to navigate this unusual time in a safe way, and have a great weekend.
Guys, have a great weekend.
See you guys.